3:55 time slot is reserved for the Texas Tech Red Raiders student athletes. Kevin Overton and Christian Anderson are with us. They will play the Drake Bulldogs tomorrow night at 5:10. We're going to go straight to questions for the two gentlemen. Who is first? Right in the back, and then we're going to come up here in the second row. Thank you.
Hey, Christian, first NCAA tournament game last night. I know you struggled early, but then hit some big shots, had a big drive there. Do you feel like it was a case of nerves with missing some of those shots and some of those struggles early on, or something that they did? Just what was your thoughts about that?
I just think yesterday shots weren't falling. Sometimes it's like that. No, it's not going to be every game, but yesterday shots weren't falling, so I had to find other ways to score. And I think defensively and then later in the game getting that and one kind of helped. But, yeah, I would just say it was a rough start, but couldn't let that affect the defensive end and how we played. So I think it's just one of those nights.
Alyssa Hurdle from the Des Moines Register. Kevin, obviously you're playing your old team, but it's a whole new look. Kind of just walk me through how you feel about going up against Drake.
I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, obviously, just the way it lined up for us to play again. But new team, still got recruited by him, so personal. But, yeah, it's going to be fun for sure, yeah.
And then just looking at your season this year, how do you feel like you've adjusted and kind of found your spot going from being a starter to a contributor off the bench?
I would say it's been a constant battle. I think, especially like you said, going from a starter to playing the role I play now. But I think it's just finding other ways to win, putting myself in situations where I can still impact the team, whether that's offensively or defensively. It changes every game.
We have one there, and then we're going to go to a Zoom call right after. Go, please.
Okay. Pete Christie, KCBD in Lubbock. Question for both guys. I got to see both your moms at the send-off, and they both told me how they love you're with the Red Raiders. They love this team. Can you just talk about the closeness of this team and what that means to both of you guys?
Christian first, please.
Yeah, I think a big part of why I came to Texas Tech is because of the close-knit environment and the family environment that surrounds the whole community, everybody on the team, the coaches and their families, and my family. They live in Texas, so them just being able to be a part of it, and yeah, just everything just makes it so much better when you win and when everybody's there to support you. So yeah.
Say we have a different type of togetherness with this team. I think that's why we've made it this far. But when our families are all connected and everybody else is connected outside of us, the players, I think it just helps the team overall. So it's been good for us.
All right, let's take the Zoom call, and we'll come back in-house, please.
Sean Dillon, Alpha Media USA. Gentlemen, how does it feel when Kerwin steps up having a game like he did last night, and how does that motivate you for your turn when it comes?
Kevin, you're first this time.
I would say I don't really look at it like that. I'm happy for everybody that has a great game or whatever the case may be for each individual game and situation. But, I mean, when he has a game like that, I think it's nice to see. It's fun to see because you know how hard he works behind the scenes. So just happy for him and ready for the next one.
Yeah, kind of like what KO said, Kerwin, he works so hard and, he's always constantly in the gym, and it doesn't surprise any one of us on the team when he has a game like that because we've all seen it multiple times in practice and, during his workouts. So, yeah, I mean, it just shows and goes to shows how deep our roster is and how anybody on the team can have a special night at any given moment.
Timothy Shapey, KTXT Lubbock. Christian, obviously this is your first year here. Obviously, this is your first year playing collegiately. What are some of the biggest differences you've seen from the beginning of the season throughout the course of the season as well as into now in the March Madness tournament?
I would definitely say the amount of preparation it goes into every game. During our preparation, we focus so much on matchups and how we should play which is kind of different from, high school, definitely. So I would just say the amount of preparation that goes into each matchup and each game is definitely different, but it's definitely keeps us prepared, and it makes it so much easier going into the games and feeling confident that we can win. So, yeah.
Cole Banker, Red Raider Nation. What do you guys know about Bennett Sturts, and how impressive is he just to watch on film?
Kevin, first, please.
Extremely impressive, especially from a ball screen standpoint. I got a chance to really look at him whenever I was still considering going back to Drake. So just seeing the way that he can manipulate the offense and control the game, I think is very unique, which is why he is who he is. But you just got to guard him, got to play against him, just play hard.
Yeah, during film and, during the preseason, we got to play against him. And he's definitely somebody that we got to really focus on and know what we got to do defensively to, make it the hardest possible on him. So he's definitely a guy that can really heat it up and look for his teammates. So, yeah, we just got to really focus on him tomorrow night.
A great defensive team like Drake. What do you guys feel like you need to improve on when shots are not falling from beyond the arc, like they were at times last night?
Christian, you're first this time.
I think just when shots aren't falling, we can't let it, because we know how good offensively we are as a team, and when shots aren't falling, we can't let it affect the defensive side on the ball. That's really the main thing. If we do what we're supposed to defensively, then it's not so much about the offensive part. But, yeah, if shots aren't falling, we got to really focus on finding other ways to score also.
Cade Welty, KTXT 88.1.
Well, one second. When we have another answer here for the shots not falling, just in case.
Just go dead or still on? Hold on, let me see. Oh, yeah, shots not falling. You talking about defense. We got to find a way to turn defense to offense, especially down the stretch. Like that last two medias, I think when shots don't fall, we got to find ways to string stops together, not just one or two, but actually get stops and be able to run in transition.
Cade Welty, KTXT 88.1 The Raider. Christian, you spent time at FIBA representing Germany, and of course you went on and won that tournament. How can you relate that experience to now bring it to March?
I would say it's definitely very similar feels to it, because when you represent a country and you represent, from my standpoint, Germany, it's so much bigger than yourself, and you represent a country and a brand which is kind of similar to March Madness. You got to play for something way bigger than yourself, because you're playing for all the fans. You're playing, you're being seen by basically all the basketball fans. So that's definitely something that goes into it. So I would say it's very similar when playing in March Madness and for a national team.
Anything else for the Red Raiders? Yes, in the back.
You guys got to play a scrimmage with Drake back in October. Is there anything you can take from that, or just getting to see them? Coach McCallum said he told you guys after that you're a Final Four team. Do you remember anything about the scrimmage, and can you just take anything from that, just getting to see those guys?
Kevin, you're first on this one.
Yeah, especially just from where they are offensively. I think we took a lot from that. I think they were in a similar spot. They still played together. They still understood where everybody needed to be. Playmaking was the same space, and in the way that Bennett Sturts manipulated the ball screen. So just going back and watching that, we were a completely different team back then, but just watching how they were offensively and how we can just use that to really just scout stop. It's really just, that's really what it is, scout stopping.
Yeah, I mean, we know how good they are. It was my first time playing ever in like a college game in the scrimmage, so it was my first, so I definitely remember it. But I would just say we know how good they are, and we know that this is a game that, like I said earlier, we really need to focus on matchups. But yeah, if we do what we need to, I think, yeah, we're gonna be fine.
Anything else for Texas Tech? All right, gentlemen, you are excused. Thank you very much. They have a date tomorrow night, 5:10 Central Time, with the Drake Bulldogs. And the head coach, Grant McCaslin, will be up here at 4:15. Thank you. The head coach of the Red Raiders is with us, Grant McCaslin. We're going to ask him to make a statement about surviving and advancing, something a little bit about Drake, and then we will go to questions. Grant, please.
Well, obviously, I thought as I said last night, the Wilmington team was so tough. We knew they wouldn't go away, and it was great to have all the Red Raider fans in the house. It was a remarkable lift for us, and our people travel and love hoops, and so it really, and being here in Wichita, it's such a great environment. And then in preparation for tomorrow's game against Drake, I mean, it's been well documented that we know those guys well. The respect is through the roof for their coach. I think it's probably the best coach in college basketball right now, an unbelievable staff, and just a tremendous team of grit that belong and are capable of winning this whole thing. So we know that it's going to be a difficult task, but we are excited to be playing and looking forward to tomorrow night.
All the way in the back. Thank you.
Hey, Coach, Jared Johnson inside the Red Raiders. Obviously, statistically, they have a really good defense, but what do you see from them schematically and then personnel-wise, defensively?
Yeah, well, their switchability is one. I mean, they don't like to do it much, but they have such good gap help. Their ball pressure is unbelievable. Their activity on the ball is unbelievable. They don't give up angles. They know how to create turnovers with their hands. It's one of the most underrated teams at turning people over, even though they really have a gap mentality. They do not give up offensive rebounds very often. They just, for being size across the board and maybe not having a huge team and what people would consider maybe not an athletic team, they're one of the most physical and tough teams that you'll play against. So they know how to make it difficult, and they know how to create turnovers also, and that's a really a unique aspect. I mean, a lot of people can play gap help but maybe not turn you over. I just think their ball pressure and their ability to guard the ball and get turnovers and not give up angles is really, it is elite.
Right-hand side, Grant. Thank you.
Darren Allred, KGAF. Talk about the challenges between a first and second round game, getting ready for an opponent, and maybe pull the curtain back on complimenting your assistants and your support staff, because you didn't get finished till midnight last night, and I'm guessing they were either up till early this morning or woke up early to get a scouting report and film ready for your guys to look at today.
Yeah, I mean, we don't. You come to our practices and you sit in our film sessions, and you'll know very quickly that this is a staff. This is not. I mean, it takes all, and our guys have significant voices in this process. Our coaches do. And I mean, when we got back last night, we had food in the team room, and we stayed in there till about 3:30. And then everybody tried to get some sleep, and then we got back in there early the next morning to try to put a prep together so that we could watch film before we came over here as a team and have a game plan in place. And, I mean, a lot of work is done before you get here. So we had a staff member that was specifically focusing on the defensive personnel of playing UNC Wilmington, but then we had a staff member that was focused on Missouri, and then we have a lot of familiarity with Drake, so our program felt like we knew a lot of that personnel, but putting all that together, all that stuff's done before we even play them. But then the decision-making in regard to how you want to put it into action is where we really spend a lot of our time. And we watched film before we came over here of what we wanted to do defensively, and we'll walk through what we want to do offensively. But, man, I feel like we've got the best staff in the country, and I mean that sincerely. From an offensive standpoint, Coach Linder and Coach Nottingham have put together what I think are some of the best actions that give ourselves a lot of confidence. And Coach Breyer, Coach AC, and Coach Barnwell have headed up the defense with Coach Breyer, who's going to be the head coach at Stephen F. Austin when the season's over with. And I think he's one of the young guys that has the rare combination of grit, toughness, but also elite feel on how you want to play the game. Very few people have a lot of people have great feel and they want everybody to feel good about themselves. He has the ability to have feel, but then also hold people accountable. And for being as young as he is and as talented as he is, he's going to be a fantastic coach, and he's done a great job for us defensively.
And back, Dennis.
Grant, it's no secret that Texas Tech has kind of gone all in on athletics to be successful in this national landscape. Patrick Mahomes is around, we know that. I just wonder how that's reflected in your area, on campus, and in Texas Tech athletics.
Yeah, well, West Texas is Texas Tech, and we have such a unique opportunity because very few places have that many people in an area that are focused on one place. And I know this because I obviously played at another Big 12 school, and I worked and lived in the metroplex of Dallas-Fort Worth area, and there's so many things that have people's attention. But, man, there's nothing like the sunsets of Lubbock, Texas, and there's nothing like the passion of the Red Raider fan base. And other than throwing a few fireball bottles at the end of maybe a basketball game, man, the passion is elite, and our students love it. And it's real. I mean, like, you don't come to Lubbock and talk about anybody else. You talk about the Red Raiders. And to have that passion, and it's filtered all throughout the state. When we played in Fort Worth and played A&M at Dickies Arena, I mean, we packed the place. And it was Red Raiders and Raider power, and like it was yesterday in here. So, and then I think the thing that makes it unique is we have a unique access to resources that is fundamental to, I think, being successful in college athletics these days. And Dusty Womble and his family are here, and they all came to breakfast, and he brought his wife and his daughter and son-in-law and their whole family, and they're all in there cheering us on. And I can't tell you how cool it is to not only be at a place that has passion, but it still feels like a family, you know? And that's a rare place to be that our family just loves. And I don't think there's a better fit, and I can't thank the people enough for having the combination of resources, but family atmosphere and love and passion. It's unrivaled, I think, in college athletics, and allows us to have the best basketball atmosphere in the state of Texas.
Second row, thank you.
Timothy Shapey, KTXT Lubbock. Coach, you kind of talked about it before, but walking into an arena, and specifically one that's not your home arena, and seeing your fan base, what does that do for a team in terms of confidence, and how does that affect a game, at least the mental part of it?
Well, you know, you get in these close games and you need stops, and I do think that there can be an edge in these NCAA tournament games where it feels like you don't want to mess up, you don't want to lose, and I think the environment of having, you know, our fans here and having Red Raiders is there's like this will that gives you, like playing a home game where you know you can get a stop because there's a belief. And I've been on both sides of it. I coached in the junior college national tournament. We were up 15 in the national championship game, and we didn't have any fans there, and everybody got behind the road team, the other team that was down, and it like willed them. You know, there was just a different edge to the end of the game. And it is awesome to play in front of this many Red Raiders, especially when the game gets close, because I think it builds the momentum and gives you confidence.
Eli Letterman, ESPN, a quick one on Chance. Where does he stand kind of going into tomorrow and really managing what he's dealing with and looking forward?
Yeah, you know, there's nobody that wants to play more than Chance, and I can't understate. I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, he really wants to play, and so we wake up every day with an optimism that we can somehow get him on the court. Obviously, earlier it was an ankle injury that was significant enough to keep him out. Now this is completely different, and this injury I do think is significant in regards to impacting his ability to play the game. And play it with a lot of confidence is one thing, but just to even get out there. So we're still trying every day to put him in the best position, and we're hopeful we can get him on the court. But it's honestly so hard to say until we get out there and get him out there and see if he can go.
And then on a very different note, there's clearly a tremendous amount of respect between you and Ben. And if you think about the success he's had now at two places and the relationship you've developed over a couple decades, what do you admire most about the way he coaches a basketball team or just builds a program to get to where he is now?
You know, I could talk about Ben as a basketball coach, but you know, a lot of people talk about basketball with him, and a lot of people call me and want his number to talk to him about basketball, but we just don't talk about basketball that often, you know. We do, but, like, I just love his family, his wife, Michelle, their boys, Peyton and Tate, his daughter, Grace. I mean, what I'll say about Ben, he's an awesome husband, and he's a great father. And so, to me, in this profession, a lot of people are trying to figure out what the next step is, and he's one of those guys that has a ton of opportunities. But what I respect about him the most is just that he loves his family and that he cares deeply about who he's with, more than he cares about what's next. And that's rare, I think, in this day. And those are the things we talk about, you know, more than anything. And that's what I respect about him the most. And that says a lot because I think he's one of the best basketball minds in the world.
We are halfway through this session, the final of the day. We've got a question here, then we're going to do a Zoom. So go ahead, please.
Following that up, Coach, how much gamesmanship is there just between you and Ben, having known each other so well and how each other operate as a coach?
Man, I honestly, I don't think there is any, because we're pretty honest with each other throughout the season. I mean, we help each other a lot. He talks to Coach Linder a lot. And we've all been friends, and we all have different conversations. And Luke Barnwell on our staff is close with him, you know, and literally talks to everybody on our staff. So it's not like our staff and their staff are so close. We talk about a lot of things, and when you say gamesmanship, it almost seems like that there's an underlying – I do think what you'll see is two teams that play really hard, you know, and I mean that. And I think that's the foundation of both teams' success. But both staffs, I think, do a great job of making adjustments over the course of the game. So I think that's what you'll see is the quality of the adjustments being made over the course of the game that try to give our teams the best chance. But it goes down to the physical plays. I mean, you can watch all the offense they run, and it's unbelievable. And you can watch their defense, and it's tough. But when that ball hits the rim, that's where it feels like these games are going to be won.
Go to Zoom.
Coach, how do you build on Thursday's game defensively, and what does your team need to do tomorrow to propel them to Texas Tech's 9th Sweet 16?
Well, I think similar to UNC Wilmington, Drake does such a great job rebounding offensively, so you got to do a great job of boxing them out. They move and cut better than anybody in the country, so being in help and being able to identify and see both is really important. So I think those aspects will carry over in preparation for this one. But more than anything, I think it's the ability to get rest and to, you know, be at our best in regards to our health. That gives us the best chance to win.
5 minutes to go. Question in the back.
Thanks. JT got sick in the Big 12 tournament, and he was good last night, but didn't seem like his normal dominant self. Is he healthy right now or not?
Yeah. No, JT's great. I think he started the game a little bit slow, and part of it was there was an emphasis on rebounding, and I do think they tried to throw the ball in the post. I think that physicality took a little bit out of him to start the game. But, man, he was unbelievable in that second half. I mean, down the stretch, his ability to get two hands on the ball, to finish around the rim. He made a couple of really tough baskets, and his passing is remarkable. Trying to get him involved more would be an emphasis, as you know, and the earlier we can get him involved, the better he plays, and I think that's important. He did look a half step slow going into the game for whatever reason. I don't think it had anything to do with health, but, man, as the game went on, I thought he really picked it up, and I wouldn't anticipate him having that problem again.
Final question right here. Thank you.
Coach, you were able to see Drake in a scrimmage back in October. Christian said that was his first collegiate competition. And while that was so infant in this stage of the whole season, can you take anything out of that? Coach McCollum said he told your team afterwards you're a Final Four team.
Well, that's easy to say for him at the time, and I appreciate him. You know, I didn't have any confusion in regard to how good their team was. And I think more than anything, this day and age, you just try to prepare your team in a short amount of time of that they can trust you and that you're telling them the truth. So going into the game, we said, man, they're going to be really difficult to guard. They're going to be comfortable getting it under 10 seconds in the shot clock and a lot of times under 5. And the amount of times they scored in that was – I just think what it did is confirm that we're going to be honest with them because they were really good. And that was with playing a lot of new guys in a short amount of time. And we're all doing that. But, I think walking away from that scrimmage – I think there was a tremendous amount of respect for how they competed, and we knew, just like we did going into it, that you can put a lot of labels on people, like D2. People want to talk about that. I was a Division II coach, and we went to the Elite Eight, and I had as good a team as I've had in Division I. And so people can say whatever they want to about levels, but it's the heart and competitiveness of a group and how they play together that determines the outcome, not what someone says you are in regards to level. So I think that stuff's clear now. When you watch their team play, it's even dumb for people to say, well, you're a D2. It honestly has nothing to do with it. It has to do with it because everybody likes to talk about it. But when you play 40 minutes and you step on the court with somebody that day, they're a basketball player and you are too, and who's the better team. And I can tell you our guys walked away from that knowing that they are legit, and we felt the same way about them going into the season, that they're going to win, and they had a great chance to win their league, which they did in regular season and the tournament, which is so hard to do now, to win a tournament in addition to win a league like the way they did. And they didn't win it, and it was close. They won it with a few games to go. And so, man, did they play the game the right way? And our guys got a ton better because of that game. Did we hope we'd play them in the NCAA tournament? It would have been awesome. We hoped we wouldn't play them this early. But obviously we're both here now, and we're excited about the opportunity to compete. And anytime you're playing this time of year, it's a blessing. And we're excited, and I know our guys are excited to play.
Thank you, Grant. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank y'all. Wreck 'em.
See you all tomorrow, 5:10 tip.